founding members are still some of our strongest members that are out in the middle of the night on these long searches, and they're some of our strongest skiers.
Tell me a little bit about some of the training and skills necessary that you would need to become a volunteer, especially a skiing volunteer. Steve, you had mentioned that Karen is a B skier, and you break up the skiers into two categories?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's two lists. There's the A list and the B list. When a search calls out, especially if it's in the middle of the night in blizzard conditions, the call goes out to all the A skiers, and those are people who have demonstrated their abilities to get out in any conditions and continue to function no matter how bad it gets.
Mm-hmm.
If after that first night, if the search is continuing on, or sometimes if it's a daytime search, then the call will go out to A and B skiers to just broaden the base a little bit more, get more people involved.
Okay. What kind of training can people expect to go through if they become a skiing volunteer?
Well, when you become involved in the Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue Team, we have a training committee that sets up trainings throughout the winter. Some of them are indoor classroom trainings in such things as map and compass training or avalanche safety, and then we also have multiple outdoor trainings that deal with avalanche safety, knowing the terrain. For instance, they'll go to certain ski areas and ski the boundary and figure out where skiers ski out of bounds, and then follow different drainages and try and become familiar with the terrain of the various ski areas or areas that are used by recreational skiers and snowmobilers, whoever's out there. So a lot of it is familiarizing
with the territory.
With the territory, yeah.
How big of a territory does Tahoe Nordic cover?
We've been on searches from Oregon to Southern California,
wow.
Nevada, of course the Sierra Nevadas, but most of our searches are right here at the local ski areas. Most of our searches are for downhill skiers that are lost from a ski area, and so it's Squaw Valley, Alpine Meadows, Sugar Bowl, Diamond Peak, North Star. It's the local ski areas are really where we spend most of our time.
We've had a lot up on Mount Rose also.
Mm-hmm.
Washoe County.
So the majority of the people that you're looking for are out-of-bound skiers?
Majority, but there are a lot of them are also backcountry skiers or snowmobilers, or kind of get all types really. But
okay.
Majority, I guess, is out-of-bounds downhill skiers.
We're going to be talking a little bit later on in the show. Have you recount to me some of the stories and maybe some of the things that were in your newsletter, the different searches that you've done already this year. So we'll get back to that. I wanted to talk a little bit more about your mission at Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue. What is the goal of your organization, if you will, and what is your mission? What defines you?
Just very briefly, it's to conduct fast, safe, efficient searches for lost people in the mountains in the winter, and to conduct public education for what we call winter awareness. And that's probably takes up at least half of our time. Is we go around to all the different grammar schools in the area, and we teach a Hug a Tree program where we try to get the kids aware of how to not get lost in the first place, and then what to do if you do get lost, and just general public information that we try to get out to make people more aware of what they need to do in the winter to keep themselves safe.
So you're active year-round then?
Oh, mostly it's in the wintertime. Mm-hmm. We do occasionally get called out on searches in the summertime for hikers or hunters or mountain bikers, simply because we have the people to do it, and we'll go out in the summer, but that's not very often. So we're mostly active in the wintertime.
Karen, talk to us a little bit, if you will, about the different outreach programs and the educational programs. Which schools do you visit? What grade levels are you trying to reach?
Well, we focus mostly on the 4th grade classrooms. We try to reach, and I think we're successful at it, every 4th grader in the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District, as well as in the past year or two we've been going to other schools outside of our district that have requested our services, and Boy Scout troops and other things like that. But in the 4th grade classrooms, every year we go into every 4th grade classroom and spend a few hours teaching them how to prepare to go out into the snow, and then what to do if they get lost once they get out there.
Now, is this something that the schools contact you to come out and do, or?
It's something we've been doing for so long that it's sort of expected. We contact them to set up the date, and then we send our group of people out to the school that day, and the teachers are familiar with the program, and a lot of the students already know the stuff. It's gotten into our school system. So in
That's
a way,
great.
we're winter-proofing all of our local students.
That's great. That's great. And of course, part of who we need to winterproof are the visitors to our
Right.
area. Is there an outreach for that, or is there any material that's available at the ski hills that you've helped put out, or?
Well, we've got a brochure on winter awareness that we try and get into ski shops.
And I have a copy of that.
And yeah,
here.
so we do put that in all the local ski shops, and we try and get it into the hotels and rental shops. And of course, we can't reach every visitor that comes up here.
There's some good tips in here, and if you do manage to find yourself in one of the local ski shops, you should really try to find this. It's just winter awareness, and it's good tips in here, good information. What other kinds of groups do you work with? We have avalanche control people out there. We have people with dogs. There are dog groups.
Right.
Do you work with those groups?
Yeah, we never work alone. Anytime we're called out to a search, we always work under Placer County. So the Placer County sheriffs are always involved. And then if we go to another county, their sheriffs will actually be conducting the search. And they'll bring in whatever resources they feel is necessary to conduct the search.
Right.
And
For instance, last year a friend of a friend was lost, and this friend of ours called and said, "This guy's missing. You know, call out the search." And we said, "We can't do that. You need to call the sheriff, and go through the proper channels."
So a person who knows of a lost party would not contact you directly.
No,
they
it
would
has to go through the
contact
sheriff.
If it's not in Placer County, Nevada County,
Call the sheriff.
and they contact Placer, and Placer contacts you.
yeah.
So
They
you've
go-
got a solid conduit of,
Yeah.
of information.
They go through the Office of Emergency Services in the state of California and coordinate through that. But we're a resource that's available, and we respond to searches all through the state of California, but mostly in any of our local counties. And there's no hesitation at all to go to Nevada County, Washoe County, El Dorado County.
This takes tremendous people power. There have to be, how many volunteers do you have?
You know, it's how do you count it? At the meetings, there's over 100 people at every meeting. People are involved in different aspects of the team, so it's hard to say exactly numbers we have at any
There's
given
probably
time.
about 100 active members
Yeah.
that come to meetings and are involved in different committees. There's, I'm not sure, 6 different committees.
So.
And that are all instrumental in the operation of the team, as well as there's probably about 35 A skiers and maybe another 20 on the B list. So there's a lot of different jobs that are taken care of, and a lot of different people involved.
So if somebody were interested in volunteering, and I'll ask you in a minute how we get around to contacting you, but you don't have to be a skier.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Anybody can be involved. There are plenty of things for anybody to do without ever having to put skis on.
Okay. So how do people find you? When do you have your meetings? And
We have our meetings every first Monday of the month at the Grand Lebacan cross country, or it's not cross country, it's their little ski lodge at the bottom of the Grand Lebacan Hill. And so every Monday, the first Monday of every month at 7 o'clock, there is a room full of people, and everybody is welcome. Just come and see what we do, and you don't have to commit to anything. You just can show up.
And Grand Lebacan, of course, is in Tahoe City.
Tahoe City, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the meetings tend to be pretty lively.
Lively is
especially-
I have heard that.
Especially if there's been a lot of searches, because there's a lot of discussion of what actually went on, and sometimes it's interesting. You get a different perspective than what you might see in the papers. When you're talking to the people who actually found the victim, and they were actually right there talking to the guy, and to find out really what happened, and not necessarily the story that you hear around town.
I'll bet you get some charged up people
Yeah.
after a search. And a good way to debrief, too, and
And learn from what we
from-
did right and what we did wrong and what we can do in the future in
Right.
those situations.
Right. Now, does Placer County organize the different groups that you're involved with in the hunts and the searches?
No. They call us out, and then When we get there, we are an autonomous unit, more or less. We communicate with the Placer County Sheriff with radios, their comm van, communication van, but I think they put a lot of trust in our team and their knowledge and how our skiers know the terrain and where these people might be.
Yeah. We tend to work as an autonomous unit, and we like to sometimes think that we're the only ones who are out there actually doing anything. But you know, like we've said, is it's really the sheriff's operation, and the sheriff brings in a lot of different resources.
That's true.
There's a lot of times there will be helicopters involved, and dog teams, and other ski teams from other counties around the state.
Yeah.
But most of the time, we're not even aware that those people are in the field.
Okay.
That we're off in one area working, and they're doing other
another
parts.
thing. So it is orchestrated, but it's not always visible to you. When we come back, we're going to be talking about what people can do to prepare for winter storms and be prepared for the
Right.
worst, and hopefully ways to avoid getting trapped.
Absolutely.
It's nice that you're there, but it would also be nice if we didn't have to use you quite so much. Again, we're speaking with Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue. Very, very glad to have you both here, and we'll be back with Truckee Talks in just a minute. Welcome back to Truckee Talks. We're here with Steve Toomey and Karen Honeywell from Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue, and we're just having a great time talking about the different rescue efforts that you've put forth. What I'd like to do right now is just have you talk to me about some of the different searches that have gone on. And Karen, let's start with you.
Well, I'm a which means I'm not as strong as the A-team skiers. I'm not comfortable with going out in the middle of the night in a storm. So I help with inbound searches. Sometimes local ski patrols will call us out when they need some extra bodies to help look inbounds. I've been doing some truck work where I go out to the searches with our truck, which has all the equipment in it, and I help the A-team skiers get set up. A lot of times it's in zero visibility, blizzards in the middle of the night, and they've got to get their zippers zipped up and their radios on and make sure that their avalanche beacons are working and make sure that everybody's got their equipment, and because time is of the essence. So I've gone out and done that, helping them get out, and then I stay in the truck and stay warm.
On-site choreography,
Yes.
but that sounds like a smart thing to do,
And
too.
making sure who we've got out there and that everybody gets back. So in Tahoe City a few years ago, and they had the dogs out because it had been a huge storm. They thought that this guy was long dead, so that we were looking for a body. It turned out that he was at the Tahoe Biltmore for 2 days on a drinking and gambling binge. So,
Did the dogs find him there?
no, actually, they didn't. But he did turn up all right.
We've got some film clips to be showing too while we talk about these stories. There's equipment that's used in the search. You talked about the truck and going out. I'm assuming that truck has radio gear, and you're staying in contact not only with the skiers but also with law
the
enforcement.
sheriff and the our vehicle snow vehicles and all of the other search teams that are out there are in communication with the sheriff, and so there's a lot of communication going on to make sure that the whole terrain is being covered.
What kinds of different searches have gone on? I know that one of the clips that we have to show is actually of a downed plane.
Yeah, there's been any number of different. We've looked for lost aircraft, downhill skiers, snowboarders, snowmobilers. Evidently, we've found a sheep herder and his flock of sheep. Hunters, anyone who can get lost in the mountains, we've gone and looked for.
Including downed planes. What is some of the equipment you use? Karen, you mentioned a vehicle, a thiacle?
The thiacle is a snow. It's a snow travel vehicle. We will use it to transport team members to areas before they get out on their skis, or to rescue the victims of the search to get them back to safety as well.
Well, that kind of puts a Jeep Cherokee to shame, doesn't it?
Yeah, the thiacals, those are actually owned by the individual members of the team who volunteer their equipment and provide all the maintenance and operation of that
Wow.
of that equipment.
That's great to
And
have.
it's a key piece of equipment for any search we go out on.
And then what about some of the more humble equipment, if you will? You have to have equipment to move people around and gear to just get in and out of the mountains.
Right. Well, most of our A-team skiers have their own equipment, special skis and boots. We all carry avalanche probe, shovel, and an avalanche beacon. But we do, as a team, in our team truck, have an awful lot of equipment. So if somebody doesn't have that equipment, they can take it for that search, and we bring extra equipment with us because sometimes the searches are out for 10 hours, and they need extra equipment in case theirs get wet or fail or whatever.
Okay.
The equipment of the team, we were talking earlier about the history of the team. It's gone from beginnings to now we have a real nice garage up at the Tahoe City PUD's property in Tahoe City. We just purchased a big Ford F-350 pickup truck with a utility body on it that's completely equipped with all the equipment that up to a dozen skiers would need to go out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So when we roll onto a search, we've really got the luxury
You're
now that
prepared.
we're bringing all the equipment we need with
Yep.
us.
And still training is an issue. Well, let's talk about equipment for a minute, but let's bring it down to a little more humble line. You have equipment to go out and find people, but what should people have with them before they go out? And Karen, you have a bag
Well,
with you
I
here.
brought a pack that I bring when I go backcountry skiing for my own enjoyment, and these are suggestions of things to bring. We realize that not everybody has all this stuff, but if you're going to be backcountry skiing and be responsible about it, these are things that you should have. If you're at a ski area, of course you're not going to have a pack like this, but you can throw a few of these things in your pockets, and that's what we train the kids at the schools to do, to put a few of the smaller items even in their pockets, or a fanny pack, and they could mean the difference between life and death. So I'm just going to start pulling some things out. There's an avalanche shovel.
And that's a heavy-duty shovel. We're
Yeah,
not
there's
talking plastic here.
No, and there is a stem for that. Got a headlamp, which can mean finding your way out. It does get very dark very early in the wintertime, and it blizzards, and that can really help.
Also serve as a beacon for somebody to find you.
Right. We've got avalanche beacons, and this isn't going to stop an avalanche from happening, and you need to know how to use it and practice using it, but it really is important. So you should know how to use that if you're planning on getting into some backcountry terrain. Got our brochure to remind me what to do. Food, some Cliff Bar, Power Bar, Snicker Bar, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Not only what you're going to need for that day, but a little extra.
Just in case.
Just in
food.
case.
Mhm.
A whistle's really important. If you are lost, your voice cannot carry that far. It's going to get very tired. The whistle can really signal if someone needs to come looking for you. Compass. Don't get don't feel that it's this really confusing thing. Just knowing which direction the highway is and trusting your compass can really help. A lot of the searches we go on, many of them are because people kept going in the wrong direction, and
Yes.
just having the compass and knowing that Highway 80 is east of them would save them.
Would have saved.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Sunscreen, of course. These are climbing skins, which go on the bottom of the skis so that you can go uphill.
Mm-hmm.
So it works like fish scales on cross-country skis. I've got all sorts of different clothing, of course. The most important thing to remember is not to wear cotton. Jeans, that we teach this to all the local kids, jeans kill because they freeze. Gore-Tex and nylon and all the
No cotton next to
yeah,
your skin.
polypropylene,
Okay.
things like that.
Okay.
It's my shovel.
And that's your shovel stem.
I keep duct tape on the shovel stem so that I can repair things that break.
Okay. Is there, in the brochure or the literature that people can find, is there a list of things that they can
There's
grab
not
things that they
really
can bring?
a list, and it's going to
Okay.
depend on what activity you're doing and what level of terrain you're going to be on.
Okay. We don't have time, unfortunately, to
Okay.
look at all of the things that you need, but this really covers some of the good
Right.
basics.
Let me just show you
Come
the
prepared.
one real important thing we show to our kids is a garbage bag.
Bring
Because-
several. It can act as a tent or a tarp
Exactly.
or keep you dry when you need to be dry.
Exactly. That's about the most important thing, that and candy bar.
And lightweight, too.
Yeah.
Easy to carry with you. Let's talk about people when they're traveling. This is getting ready. This is preparing for your
Right.
trip. What are some of the other things that they need to be doing in preparation for leaving and knowing that they may be traveling through winter conditions?
Sounds like the 3 Ws. Again, what we always try to drive home to the kids is what we call the 3 Ws, is where you're going, when you're going to be back, and who you're going with. You never go in the backcountry alone, and stick with your partners. Don't split up. Always tell a responsible person or leave a note that says where you're going to go and when you're expected back. Those can be the key to survival, because then people will know where to start a search, and it'll give us a real leg up on where to go.
Makes a huge difference.
I'll bet it does. And don't go alone,
Right.
like you said. Okay. In case of emergency, you find yourself stuck, you are alone, what do you do?
The very first thing you do is don't panic, because panicking is your worst enemy. You've got to keep a cool head. We have an acronym. We use the word STOP, and we teach this to all the kids, and it's a real good thing to remember. The S stands for stop. Don't go any further. A lot of the searches
Not.
but it would be better just to stay put and collect yourself. The T stands for think. Think about your situation. Think about who the person you're with and what's going on with them. Do they have jeans on, or how well prepared are they? Think about where you are and who knows where you are. The O stands for observe. Observe the weather. Observe the equipment that you have with you, what you can use to help you out. And then the P is for plan. So make a plan with all this information, whether it be to go back or to make shelter, or use that information and stay calm.
And stay calm, and stay put.
Right.
Okay. As far as we've heard people digging out tree wells and trying to find shelter, is there briefly a good way or a bad way to do that?
There's no real bad way. The main thing is just be resourceful with what you've got available. If you've got a trash bag, that's great. You can use that to lay it over some pine boughs, and there's a shelter already.
Okay.
Make sure you stay warm and dry, though. You can waste a lot of energy and get very wet digging too much. So use the geography there in a tree well. Use the pine boughs as insulation.
And don't exhaust yourself
Right.
making your protection there. Is there anything else that you have to share that's critical? We just have a few more minutes to wrap up, and there's so much information to give, and we can't give it all in this show.
Based on this year's searches, it seems that quite a few of them could have been prevented if people had really looked at the weather forecast. A lot of the searches were in very bad storms, and people just didn't take heed to what a Sierra storm can do.
And many people, I think, don't know that. That many of our second homeowners and visitors see snow on the forecast, and they will come up.
Right.
Because that's when the fun begins, but not really paying attention to the severity of the storm.
Right.
Yeah, that's just something to keep in mind all the time, is that the winter environment, we say the mountains don't care. The mountains don't care about your lack of preparedness or whether you've gotten yourself in over your head. You for survival in the woods, in the wilderness, in the winter, is your equipment, your preparation, your conditioning. So you just have to be more careful. You really have to make sure that everything is, your equipment is all operating properly, and you don't get yourself into a situation where you're in over your head.
Pay attention. It's nice to know that Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue is there, but we can't rely on you to save lives all the time. And as many successful searches as you've had, I'm sure there have been some that have been disappointments as well.
I guess the main thing is people don't plan to get lost. Nobody plans on getting lost, so everybody needs to take precautions.
Okay, so some things to keep in mind for winter preparedness. Travel prepared, know what you're doing before you go, let people know where you're going, when you should be back, and who you're going to be with. If you're interested in learning more about Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue, that would be the first Monday of the month at Grand Lebacan Resort.
Right.
Okay.
Everyone's welcome.
And
7
everyone's
o'clock.
welcome. And you don't have to be a skier.
No.
Okay.
There's plenty of things for everyone to do.
Steve, Karen, thank you both so much for being on the show.
Thank you,
This has
Maya.
been very informational, and it's been a lot of fun, too.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate it. As always, we welcome your input and feedback on Truckee Talks. If you have suggestions for future shows or any opinion or feedback you'd like to give us on our current show, we'd always like to hear from you. Please pay attention. Winter preparedness is critical for your safety and for the safety of those around you. Thank you again for joining us on Truckee Talks.
Don't forget to come in and see us this fall for snowboards. We will be carrying a vast array of snowboards, including boots, bindings, and clothing. Plus, we will also be a Burton dealer.
Do it slower. Go a little slower. Much slower, because remember they're going to cut in pictures of your voice.
All right. Don't forget to come in and see us this fall for snowboards. We will be carrying a vast array of snowboards, including boots, bindings, and clothing. Plus, we will also be a Burton dealer.
Maybe a little slower. Can you say
All right.
pause it? Bindings and clothing. Just pause a little bit. Okay.
Don't forget to come in and see us this fall for snowboards. We will be carrying a vast array of snowboards, including boots, bindings, and clothing. Plus, we will also be a Burton dealer.
You didn't pause.
What was that?
You didn't really pause.
And you lost a word in the middle there, too. You ran over a word. So, do
And?
it again.
Don't really press that.
I don't know, I just heard it kind of go blue.
You need to pause page like boots, bindings,
Mm-hmm.
and clothing.
All right. Don't forget to see us this fall for snowboards. We'll be carrying a vast array of snowboards, including boots, bindings, and clothing. Plus, we will also be a Burton dealer. We have a full range of BMX bikes here at Truckee Boardworks, from regular 20-inch bikes to 24-inch cruiser bikes. We have bikes that are good for racing, jumping, or someone who just wants their first bike. We have a full range of parts, including a service department. So if you need any BMX stuff, come in and see us.
Okay, we'll do it again. That's the idea. You've
Okay.
got a lot of good inflection going on there.
Okay.
Okay, that's working good. It's just the words now.
All right.
Yeah.
We have a full range of BMX bikes here at Truckee Boardworks, from regular 20-inch bikes to 24-inch cruiser bikes. We have bikes that are good for racing, jumping, or someone who just wants their first bike. We have a full range of parts, including the service department. So if you need any BMX stuff, come in and see us.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Spell pretty good.
That's
One more
a,
time.
that's a good one, but don't have them do it.
Okay. We have a full range of BMX bikes here at Truckee Boardworks, from regular 20-inch bikes to 24-inch cruiser bikes. We have bikes that are good for jumping, racing, or someone who just wants their first bike. We have a full range of parts, including a service department. So if you need any BMX stuff, come in and see us.
This is where we'll have this. Address and all that kind of stuff. And what we're going to do is on Tuesday, and actually Joe, on depending on, no, you've got the photos and everything, so on Tuesday we'll edit as far as we can, and then I'll just take it up from there, or you guys could come in, I don't know what, we'll hire you to finish it. So they're paying for this, and maybe there's a way, see, especially if it were finished off hours a little bit, then we could pay you guys an honorarium for that, which would be appropriate.
Yeah.
You know, maybe $100 each or something.
Whoa.
Or something.
We're gonna go slow.
How much is he paying for this commercial?
Huh?
How much is he paying for this commercial?
About 700.
Really?
Yeah. Which also pays for some time and some things. So it's normally you're close to 1,500, 2,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he's saving a lot of money for doing it to the
Yeah.
high school.
If he likes it, you know, I mean that's why we're working at it so hard.
Because he can just say, I don't like it and I don't want to use it or something, or what?
Well, we want to produce something that yeah, TV and all that. That's what we're talking about. Once, 4 years ago, this fell. 7th grader tripped across the line we had, and the whole plane pops, it was shit. And I stood on the floor. This whole plane was loose and out and everything, and we just kind of put it back together, and it worked. But it fell from this high onto the floor, and that cafeteria thing, jeez, and it survived. Maybe.
Good little TV there.
Yeah. And this has a little pack you can put underneath it, but it holds like 12 D cells.
Okay, go ahead. Hello.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. Let's have a little.
I did. There's a gap.
Okay.
So if you need any BMX, skateboard, or snowboard stuff, or if you just want to check out a mountain board, be sure to come in and be sure to, kind of messed up. Can I keep going?
3. So 1,
Okay.
2,
Yeah.
3.
To yourself.
Okay. So if you need any BMX, skateboard, or snowboard stuff, or if you just want to check out a mountain board, be sure to come in. If you need a tune-up on your bike, don't forget our service department. Come on down to Truckee Board Works and check us out. Okay. So if you need any BMX, skateboard, or snowboard stuff, or if you just want to check out a mountain board, be sure to come in.
Sorry.
But
I hit the back of this chair. It might come through. Go ahead.
okay. So if you need any BMX, skateboard, or snowboard stuff, well, let's start over here again.
Okay, do it. Wave in front of the camera so we know where to look for. Yeah. You should have a lot.
So if you need any BMX, skateboard, or snowboard stuff, or if you just want to check out a mountain board, be sure to come in. If you need a tune-up on your bike, don't forget our service department. Come on down to Truckee Board Works and check us out. Okay. So if you need any BMX, skateboard, or snowboard stuff, or if you just want to check out a mountain board, be sure to come in. If you need a tune-up on your bike, don't forget our service department. Come on down to Truckee Board Works and check us out.